everyone, welcome back to more Flesh and Bad, and today we're going to be playing some Katsu. So this is a deck that I haven't touched in a very long time, and probably for good reason. I think he's not really meta or whatever, but this is one of those decks that I think is still like really fun in FaB. So I'm kind of trying to do a little bit of an appreciation series for the I guess like the most fun decks in FaB right now. I think that Katsu is definitely up there in terms of like being one of like the fun tier heroes, right? I've been toying this deck a little bit. I don't have like a ton of reps, but I've kind of like molded the shell. This was based on kind of like a really old list that was running like a very like kind of red line build. So it was running like Ravenous Rabble, very low blue count, and then kind of just trying to like do this kind of like weird red line thing, which I thought was really interesting. So I think for this variation of the list, we're doing kind of a very similar thing. So we're running like pretty red line, basically 14 blues in the deck, 10 yellows, and majority red, so 36 reds in the deck. And the goal here is basically we're trying to be super aggro, set up those huge big Katsu turns, and we're also just running some good kind of like red filler here to kind of support that. So we're running Aspect Tiger Body, we're running some good 0-for-3s like Be Like Water, and then also just kind of like running all the good Katsu cards. So we're running our Surgings, our Whelmings, stuff, and we also got this new like Vengeance package, which we got from the Ira Armory deck, which is really interesting. And then we just have a bunch of combo cards, a bunch of stuff to support that, and obviously we have like our Ancestral Harmony, which is obviously like one of our better cards in the deck. So it's like we basically want every card that's not like a red in this deck to basically be like a red in terms of rate, right? Like Ancestral Harmony is like a very above rate card, so is Legacy as well as like Seek Vengeance and stuff. I've actually like gone back and forth on Legacy. I think this is one of those cards that's like maybe on the chopping block just because you're not swinging edge like all that much, but it's still like kind of interesting, especially if we are running like the Vengeance package. So we're going to be running Legacy for this video. I think this is definitely one of those cards you can also like trim on if you want to go like a little bit more redline. But yeah, this is like the core 60 of the deck, so we're running just all of the kind of like stock standard good Katsu stuff. And we also got the, I guess, the new card from Super Slam, so Tempest Small Gust Wave. I still haven't like played with this card a ton because I don't think I've touched the deck since like Soup released. But this card still seems really good, just like yellow, 0-for-3, that also like works as a pitch card, also works as just like a go again card, so really interesting. In the board, we got some interesting stuff. So I've been, I think there's a part of this video where I'm going to be like toying around with the deck a little bit before like we like, so this is like the final version of that because I'm recording this intro after. Spoiler alert, that's how like the Flesh and Bad movie magic typically happens. I typically record like the intro and the outro last when I'm doing the video. But anyways, there's probably gonna be like a little bit of bouncing back and forth where I'm like editing the deck list because I think I started this deck list by running Wax On Wax Off, which I'll include the game where I immediately took out Wax On Wax Off, which is kind of funny. But anyways, I kind of like settle on this board, so we're running like 2 Tenacity, 2 Salt the Wounds just for tutor targets for Mask of the Bouncing Links. Running 1 Remembrance just for like fatigue matchups, running some D-Reacts for like Assassin and fatigue matchups, and then also running some kind of like anti-D-React hate in the form of the Command Conquerors, the Imperial Seal Command, and the Ataya. So I don't know if that's like too much hate, it might be. So we can definitely like free up some slots here, but I mostly just wanted to use this video to kind of like have fun, play with a deck that I don't normally play, and I think this is like one of the more fun decks in FaB. So anyways, I hope you'll enjoy, and yeah, let's go ahead and get into the games.
Also, if you have any interest in Marla tokens, we have Marla tokens on our Ko-fi page, so please buy them. They're really cool. Thank you.
Right, playing against an Arachne. Well, at least we got our kind of funny meme deck here. Bring the Wax On Wax Off package because we're legally obligated to. I guess we'll also get the Flicks. And then what do we want to cut down on here? Maybe we can trim on the aspects and maybe also the Be Like Waters. Again, this is kind of like a meme package more than anything, but I'm kind of curious to see how it goes. Maybe even this is like too many reacts. I can also see that being the case. Let's maybe also cut in the Rabbles and then also bring in maybe like 1 Salt and just see how this runs. All right, I'm curious. Again, not a ton of reps on this hero. Let's go ahead and switch over to... okay, we got like a decent starting hand. You can at least probably force some interesting blocks from them. So you can at least like force all cards from hand, arsenal back. That's probably like the ideal state here. You have a Frailty Trap, which is not bad against us. Basically getting rid of our Edge of Autumn here. That's kind of fine. I guess do want to do this just so the Enact Vengeance is online. Now the question is, are they just going to give us 6 on this, or are they going to give us 1 more? Alright, so it's almost certainly too greedy to go for Okana here, so I'm just gonna pass. Imagine they probably just have a shelter here anyways, which makes sense. Alright, we basically have 3 cards out of the hand. Unfortunately, they did have like 2 D-Reacts, so like the odds of their next hand getting better are a lot higher. A little unlucky, but we do actually have like a pretty decent follow-up on the next turn. Or at least a hand that is able to defend and then do something on the next kind of swing. Let's go ahead and just take the Clave here. And I think our plan is to just flick on whatever they do next. Hopefully not like a CNC or something. Alright, we got the good old Kiss of Death. I think we're just passing here. Let them figure out what they want to do. If they want to like T-Toxin this, I think I'm fine with that. They want to Scar Tissue. This hits. They close chain. They could theoretically play out like a Codex or something. So I guess we're just supposed to like let this happen. I don't really see any real reason to play the D-React on this. Alright, there's Leave No. It's interesting. If we reacted there, I guess we didn't know that they pitched a Codex, so they could have had like a second Codex there. Definitely possible. But theoretically, it was actually better to do it on the Kiss of Death, so that we're not like clearing the mark or whatever. Or so that we are getting rid of the mark, so we don't have to worry about it. But I guess they're always gonna like flick their Clave in this position anyways. I almost like wanted this to hit though, which is like I guess the unfortunate part. Alright, not too bad though. So we can buy back like another 100 wins here. A lot of interesting options with this hand. I guess the real question is like, how do we want to start here? It's like we don't even really need the Katsu trigger for this, do we? Because we just have Descendant Bonds. We have Descendant Bonds, buy back 100 wins, or we could also get the Enact Vengeance, but then we're not playing Edge, so we're not getting the on hit there. Yeah, it's kind of awkward. Okay, let's go ahead and start, I guess, with Edge pitching Legacy, and then follow up with like the Enact Vengeance. So they might like overblock on this if they're like greedy. I kind of want them to like commit a D-React to this. I guess it doesn't really matter. I guess I'm just trying to like bait them into doing something that is inefficient, I guess. Like if they want to like spend some resources to deny the Katsu trigger, I think that makes a lot of sense. It looks like they're just going to straight flip into the Orb Weaver here. So the question is, do I want to get baited by Inertia Trap super hard? It's tempting. It's 1 free value. I'll take 1 free value. If they have Inertia Trap, I'm going to be profoundly sad. Okay, they have the Frailty Trap under the Trapdoor. Okay. I guess we did get punished here. But actually, under the Trapdoor is probably something I didn't consider. Alright, we got greedy. Unlucky. That being said, this deck can perform without Edge for a decent bit, which is nice. Oh, we actually could have closed chain there and like got back a Vengeance. That was also probably like a decent play. Alright, we are off our Edge for now, but that is my hubris I was talking. Alright, let's go ahead and play out our bonds. Oh god, I missed this card. This card makes me so happy. Alright, let's get our 100 wins. Yeah, it's kind of like awkward here. We're getting some good damage in, but we're not getting like the good, like our setup is now pretty bad. That being said, we did get Mask out of the way, so I guess it's not that bad. I also need to like get into the Talishar habit of turning these off. Alright, so let's go ahead and leave the Mask on, and then we'll turn on our boots. We have to like actually think through our lines on Talishar, which is unfortunate. We can't just like hold priority. Ooh, okay, I guess we got the natty Katsu hand here. Alright, coming in for 8, and then we have follow-up here. So they pitched a Codex, which is at least good for us. So they have 2 Codexes potentially left, so if this card is Codex, then I guess GG's. But we're not that upset about 8 damage right now. Our hand's good if we are going undisruptive here. which we are, which is great. Okay, so now we can basically play out everything if we want to pop our cross strap. I guess the question is, do we actually want to pitch the retrace instead? I feel like that's actually probably not correct, right? We just want to go for surging, whelming, bonds, and then you theoretically retrace after the whelming, and then just rename like a gust wave so that bonds is live or whatever. Right, so they're gonna spend some resources denying this, which means they're also gonna have to go a card to this. Pretty good for us. I feel like this matchup, okay, so we like punted on obviously like the end of the trapdoor or whatever. But aside from that, it doesn't actually feel all that bad. Oh, we're getting the draw? Okay, let's fucking go. All right, hold on. Let me turn on the boots because we might actually need it this turn. All right, so let's drop the whelming first, right? All right, so we drew a red whelming, which means this becomes surging, this becomes... So do we even want a Katsu trigger now? This Katsu trigger doesn't even do anything for us, right? We retrace, we name surging, we play whelming, we play bonds, getting just random vengeance or whatever. So I think we just decline this. And then I don't think we want to links just yet. Now we retrace, name surging. Now we just get aggro. This is actually pretty cool. All right, so surging. I mean, when you draw the nuts in Katsu, it's pretty good sometimes, right? Like, we haven't even had to use the ability because our hands are just, like, lining up super well. All right, so let's... Okay, we're turning off the reserves again, sorry. This hero is a pain in the ass on Teleshark. Okay, let's go ahead and play out our whelming again, which is probably going to be a nightmare for them. They didn't block the first one. Again, let's order the whelming first here. All right, drawing a flick flack kind of sucks. But we could be looking at a potential salt turn here. So it's not Cracker Links just yet. I actually think this is the Links turn. It might not be. Let's get back, I guess, our Vengeance now. Unfortunately, we didn't have like a Dishonor here, but I guess we didn't have Descending Gust Wave to kind of continue that. And so now we can maybe think about doing some funny stuff with so we have 5 Chain Links that have hit, assuming that this hits. We could theoretically give this go again for an extra 7 damage, put them to... What is this? So let's get the Okana first. Get the Edge of Autumn. So we put them to 3 if we want to pop everything here. That's got to be worth it, right? Yeah, let's go for the kill here. It's not really a kill, but you know, getting Sultan for 7 is probably not bad. Like, if we can just get them so low that they can't have a turn next turn, I think we're in good shape, right? And we also just have our Edge online now, which is really great. So, actually, pretty convincing start against Marionette here, which I thought would be like the one matchup that this deck like does not want to see at all. I guess like this deck still does some pretty strong things, especially when your draws line up. That being said, I do think there are some draws in this deck that are quite poor. Like, I'm wondering if we even need the wax on wax off package, because like I brought that in for the assumption that this matchup was like terrible, but I don't think this matchup's actually that bad. And now we just juice them with the flick black. Oh, disgusting. So they did find their second codex, but just I think they were turned too late. All right, and then reflip into Orb Weaver, which probably not actually that great for them. So let's start off with the Surging Strike here, pitching this, and then I think we're going to try to find something off the Empowerment. They might not be able to afford to play around Empowerment here, which is nice. And we also do, I guess, have the Okana, right, which will buff any ninja attack, right? So if you have a 7 here, you can potentially, like, overpump. Let's see what the Empowerment draws first, and then I think we're going to go for the Okana Greed. So if they have a React here, they now have to, like, spend it for 1. And then we get to use the Katsu ability. So what do we want to get here? It's probably discard the Tempest Palm. Discard Tempest Palm, get red whelming, and then just finish the turn with like a Seek Vengeance or something. Seems mildly annoying for them. So now I have to give like 2 cards here, or like card plus armor here, and then potentially another card here just to stop us from re-equipping dagger. This is like kind of like the nice thing about the edge decks is like you can kind of go for a long time without just like having the edge re-equipped, which is really nice. So now that card in Arsenal has to be really, really good from them, and we have to like brick super, super hard on our next turn, which I don't think is super likely. This hand's not great, but it's not like a horrible brick, I think. I will say that we probably have too many D-reacts at this point, but it's still kind of fine. So we could just give them reblock here to Arsenal the wax on. Which is not bad. We could also like Arsenal retrace and just wax this on just for the full value. I think I kind of like sitting on a D-react though. So maybe we'll just do 3 and a 4 and then just make them deal with that, and then Arsenal D-react for redundancy on our turn. Again, being off edge, a little bit unfortunate here, but we can kind of go. We can still like play out our hands pretty well without edge, which is nice. I will say that one turn is probably like what we needed to kind of like close the gap here, or like just get ahead on tempo. Forgot how broken Lynx was. Lynx is just like so stupid good. Oh, and we're getting 2 cut from the same class. Oh, their hand must not be very good. This is awesome. Okay, this hand also. This hand's pretty bad. So now we take 6, or we have to send 6, and then like IP with the gust wave. Little unfortunate here, but not the end of the world. Again, we're still like kind of in control of this position. We're just not really capitalizing on the tempo here. And that's kind of like the awkward thing about this Tempest Fallen Gust Wave. Sometimes it just like is not very good. CL 0 for 5, which is still like good on average, but sometimes you just draw it and it's like 0 for 3, no go again. It's pretty rough. Oh, you're wax on, wax off. It's not even good though. It's not even good. Wait, why am I running this? We're playing this in the matchup where I want wax on, wax off, but it's like not. It's not actually even that good. Oh my god. All right, whatever. I was trying to have fun playing a bad hero. I wanted to play some old cards that I liked, and now the cards that I liked aren't even good. It's a shame. I guess we could still do it. We could do it for the fans, but that's probably wrong. Oh, but then I'm like actively punting this game, trying to think if I want to resolve wax on, wax off. I think the answer is I don't really want to do that. And the funny thing is I guess actually, but then I'm still marked. No, this is terrible. I don't actually want to not have damage there, right? So I guess we'll start. We can take 3 cards out of them here. For what it's worth, this deck does have a lot of 2 blocks. Maybe his hand isn't as cursed as I thought it was. Pretty bad though. And I guess let's lead on the Descendant, maybe take another card. God, arsenaling this is just like so crap right now. And so maybe they have React here. Sure. We can get them down to 1 card if we want to play this out. Or like we can even maybe buy like Flick or something. Given we've seen 2 Leave Nos, 2 Codexes at this point. Might be overdue for another Codex. Problem is I want to get them out of cards actively, because if I allow them to keep 2 cards, that's when it starts getting like a little bit suspect. All right, we got them out of Kista, so I guess it's not too bad. The fear here is if they have like Codex or something, or if they have the last Codex. Oh boy, I built this deck wrong, didn't I? Yeah. Oh no, this is bad. This is comical. All right, so I guess we do 5 into 4 again. Oh boy. Maybe I wasn't supposed to play that yellow Gust Wave on the last turn. Because like maybe they're Maybe there are like 2-card hands actually like kind of bad still. So if we had Arsenal the Guts Wave, we actually would have been in like a fine-ish spot. I guess here we're still buying the Flick Knives, which is kind of interesting. We know that card was in Codex, otherwise they probably would have slammed it. Huh. Alright, I'm kind of floundering here. Alright, we found our wax on, wax off empowerment. Oh my god, we're running too many D-reacts. Uh-oh. Well, why is it so bad? Oh my god. Don't even want to do this. Oh my god, this is so funny. Why did I think this card was good? I'm cutting this card like immediately. Yes, I'm still doing it. I'm fucking upset about it though. We gotta do it for the fans, okay? It's like, it's strictly bad to actually make a Zen state here. Like, it's not actually, like, this is terrible because we're not clearing the mark now, and now they get the free Arachne flip. But I guess this is what we're doing. Oh, and they flip into Flannel Web. Oh, great. Well, I guess they do have to give me 3 here. So if they have like 2 blocks they want to block with or something, maybe that's funny, but oh my god. Yeah, this could not be going worse for us, I think. I get shelter. But like worst case scenario, they funnel at best, like we're losing empowerment, which isn't the biggest deal. Alright. Oh my god, this hand isn't even playable. So they pump, they get rid of our empowerment. So we do need to block. Do we need to block? Yes, we do need to block. Some amount, right? I'm like losing my brain trying to figure out how to actually make this hand work. So we pump. This one breakpoint doesn't actually even matter, right? Because I don't think it helps us in any real way unless you're like blocking with surging. We have 3 here, 3 here. This coming in for 8. We draw a card. Oh, how do we punted this game by actually running wax on, wax off. That's hilarious. I guess we're doing this. They pump to 3. So they're coming over for 4 currently, drawing a new card. Oh my god. If they draw any Codex, I think we're actually screwed here. This is so funny. The deck that I brought for Marionette isn't even good in a Marionette. That's like the best possible scenario for this video. So he's surging now. They have to give us 4 block, which they have because they're playing D-Rex, right? I guess they do have to respect the Dishonor. In the sense that it's just 2 damage. Oh, how did I punt this game? So I think like, okay, I'm like actually cutting this from my deck afterwards. I thought this would be a lot better in a Marionette, but it's actually like kind of terrible, right? That's so funny. I wanted to like meme a little bit, but like the meme tech isn't even good. Oh god, and this hand. Oh, I'm in pain. Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and block 3. We were winning this game by like a mile, and then we like just started bricking super bad. Right, Meat Madness. So hypothetically, this card has a fake on hit, or an on hit that we do not care about. But like the issue is like we can't actually just like block Okana here. We have to give him another card. In that case, so they never brick on their next hand, right? So we need to send something, which means I guess we do this and then hope they don't hit the hand banish. And then I guess we can also like Okana, just throw the Okana in front of this. And then just send 3 on our turn. Wow, we like basically got to fatigue here, which is kind of crazy. I did not think they hit the... Oh my god. I don't think I've ever punted a game this badly. This is hilarious. This is like watching a train. I feel bad for anyone who's actually watching this. This is actually like a fever dream of like things going wrong. All right, all right. Well, no, okay. This is important. We're learning an important lesson, which is that all of Katsu's cards are bad, right? They almost are probably back around to their codex at some point relatively soon. I guess we do have the Flick Clock here. How many T-Talks have we seen, actually? We've not seen a ton of them. I guess we'll force it out of them. This is so fucking funny. I don't think I could have actually asked for a better series of events from a contents perspective. Oh, God. This might be the worst game I think I've ever played. Okay, so, like, I don't actually played this that bad. This is, like, a deck building issue, right? The main deck building issue is I'm running too many D-Reacts, and the D-Reacts are terrible. They're really bad. But it is funny. And that's what matters most, right? Oh, God. I guess, like... Okay, they're afraid. Fear is the mind killer. As Paul Tree, or no, that was Paul Tree's mom, right? Okay. So how many dagger buffs, I guess, do they have at this point? What do they have that can actually buff this? It's like to the point. They have one last to the point, which we have not seen yet, I don't believe. Or I've not remarked on it. It's also T-Tox. So I guess they would have one of those, but they can't do the minus on the T-Tox, which is at least nice. So the issue is they could do it on the Calyssura, and that's obviously game winning. I don't think we actually have an out here. I guess we'll just not block and see what happens, because I don't think we can beat a T-Tox, right? Huh. So I think we need to cheese them with Legacy is like the answer here, right? I just hope they don't have... I don't think we could have beaten a T-Tox anyways, right? Yeah, so they have T-Tox, they can kill us on this clave, and then like we can't do anything on this one, right? Interesting. Okay, so okay. All right, let's go back to the deck real quick. That was very fun. Okay, so we have now 5 new 5 new slots for sideboard space. So let's think about actually what we want to include instead of that pile of crap. Okay, let's think about this.
2 hours later.
All right, new Katsu brew just dropped, so we immediately cut the wax on wax up package. I'm actually going to bring in some sync belows just because I think those might be comparable, and at least they provide a bit of hand fixing. And then one other thing I actually wanted to try was like a cheeky little one of Imperial Steel Queen, because I think this could actually be like a good way to kind of like break through the Earth Heroes, which I've actually been doing pretty well recently. And we also got Leotaya still in here. So I think this actually might be pretty close to the board. Actually, okay, hold on. No, sorry. I made one more choice. We're going to actually trim on a Sink Below, and I think go up on a second Tenacity and see how that actually works for us. So as you kind of saw in the last game, because we had so many D-Reacts, like we kind of just like bricked out after a certain point. So I kind of wanted to try to tune the deck a little bit to kind of like be so that we're not like breaking out super bad. So this is my second attempt. Let's go ahead and see if this deck performs maybe slightly a little bit better. All right, so we got a Cindra. First or second Cindra? I feel like second's probably fine. So, all right. And then we definitely want, I think, our sinks and our flex into Cindra. I feel like CNC's not bad. Could actually probably not get away with like not as many D-Reacts. And maybe we cut like the aspects here because they're just a little bit awkward. Like we want as many on hits as possible, right? And then I think we can maybe just run. I think CNC is like fine. Problem is they can like kind of block it out pretty easy. And let's bring in our salt over maybe just like a one of, I don't know, maybe like a one of Rabble is probably fine. Let's try something like this. Again, I'm still have no idea how to sideboard this deck, so we're gonna be on kind of like a little bit of a learning adventure here. But going second in these like aggro matchups is always quite nice. All right, playing against a Cindra, so I assume they're probably just going to play 3 cards. So we want to block with Enact Vengeance, Dishonor, and Be Like Water, ideally here. Oh, looks like they're doing more of like a blue line Cindra, which I've not seen as much of lately. I feel like a lot of decks have been trying to go in like a more red or like yellow line, quote unquote, direction. Kind of like the Michael Yasker like pre-ban list a bit. It looks like this one's actually kind of going in on like the Devotion Never Dies and like the blues and stuff, which is kind of cool. So we definitely do want to respect this with blocks. Let's go ahead and let's go ahead and block with the Enact Vengeance because I want to keep the blue just in case. I imagine they're probably gonna play something afterwards, but we do actually want to block out the Devotion Never Dies just so they can't play multiples as chain link. I imagine they probably flick here and then something on the next chain link. If they have double empowerment, we cry, but it's not the end of the world if the empowerment's not getting over. So as much as I hate it, we might have to end up blocking with the surging here. I obviously don't want to though. I won't block on the dagger though. We'll wait for them to give like another card here. They do also have one empowerment out of the way, which means they're unlikely to have another. It's a blaze. So the question here is, do we give up Breeze Rider Boots, the one block on Breeze Rider Boots, or do we give up the Surging? I think guaranteed keeping a Surging is like pretty valuable, so maybe just giving the one Breeze Rider Boot value is like fine. We are like losing out on like one value, but I think like guaranteeing we have a red Surging in the opener is like kind of worth it. All right, let's try to pull it around from that last Marionette game. That game, like, I don't think I've ever played the worst game of Flesh and Blood, at least on my end. They played very well though. Okay, so let's go ahead and just pop our Surging, or yeah, pop our Crossdrop for Surging here. We have the Whelming already in hand, which is also quite nice. So we discard 100 wins, get what, I guess is the question. I feel like if we draw blue off this empowerment, there's like an opportunity that we oh, they're just gonna give us the searching string, I suppose. Makes sense. Let's actually, no, I think we want to save the empowerment for the Whelming, right? So we definitely want to Katsu. Let's skip all this. We do not want to destroy Mask just yet. Katsu, discard the 100 wins, grab our bonds. And we can follow up with the Whelming, which we can pump all the way to 5 if we want to. If we draw blue here, we can actually like play the bonds, buy back Enact Vengeance, and then just like ruin their day absolutely. Pretty sick. I wonder if I'm like a little too low on blues, but I did want to kind of like go back to there's this one list that I think was like either like a 9th place or like top 8 or something that was running like the Ravenous Rabbles, and I wanted to play that list ever since. I don't know if those Ravenous Rabbles are still like good though, is the issue. Alright, so let's go and pop the empowerment. So hoping for a blue here. I drew a Surging, which is at least fine for next turn. We could actually still end up drawing a blue off the Whelming here, and that would actually be quite nice. So let's let that resolve first. So we drew another Bonds. Awkward. So we actually need to destroy Boost Riders here. I think we do, right? Yeah, I think we actually do. Then we need to mask and get our other yellow Gust Wave. Oh, we should actually probably have a yellow Descendant in this deck, shouldn't we? Having a yellow Descendant is sometimes really nice for tutoring purposes. I guess yellow Whelming also kind of gets the job done here. I think maybe like one yellow Descendant would probably be worthwhile though. Let's grab the yellow Whelming here. And so we played Gust Wave last chain link, so let's go ahead and play the bonds that they know about. Let's grab our Underwinds here. It's like kind of awkward though. Like I feel like this isn't actually all that good. It's like fine. Like we're gonna deal probably like half their life total or whatever. I feel like it always could be better though, you know? Alright, so then we get Dishonor on the end, which Dishonor will not be turned on, unfortunately. Because I don't think we played a Descendant, right? But yeah, maybe like a 1 of yellow Descending Gustwave would actually go a decent ways. Let's grab that Dishonor. I mean, for what it's worth, on turn 1, we spent all of our equipment to put them to 14, so we did 26 damage. And drew a card. It's not bad. Like 26 damage with Arsenal. Interesting. They give up the breaking point too, which is actually pretty good for us. All right, so we've fully kind of blown our equipment here. All right, found our gust waves. A little bit late, but better late than never. So it's kind of weird here. This is the nice part is that these like blue line Cindra lists like are pitching blue, so their turn is like has some kind of like baked in efficiency, whereas the old lists kind of like didn't have that. And I think we're just gonna move to take this damage. I think we're even gonna let the mass trigger. We're just gonna try to like pop off this hand super hard. All right, so they got Demonstrate Devotion, which is almost certainly connecting, just because they have the arsenal as well. Yeah, we're just gonna let them have this. They did have to give us the Blood Splatter Vest, which is actually pretty good for us as well, right? So it might make their turns a little inefficient here. But yeah, it looks like they're going to crack back with a basically a 22 damage turn themselves. Ooh, and ending on the Snatch is brutal. So the question, I guess, is like, what do we want to give them here? We could give up 1 Gust Wave, which I think is probably prudent. And then we could just hit them with another Dishonor, like if we, assuming we connect with these. Yeah, giving them a card is probably too good, right? Probably stop that. All right, it's looking like a 3-turn Flesh and Blood game, which is always fun. So what's the play here? You start pitching the Gust Wave, right? I guess it doesn't matter because we're probably discarding this, like either one of them anyways. Oh, do they want to like buyback dagger? Yeah, that's what it was. Okay. Right, so back to our turn. I think, okay, it's actually better to get the extra 1 point of damage, right? Might as well get him with the Edge of Autumn. Because I think we're going to be discarding card regardless here, right? Assuming that it hits. I guess the nice thing for them is they do still have mass momentum to block with. So, like, hey, they're still in a fine spot. Right, they are going to let us connect, though, which means we get our last bonds here. Let's grab that last bonds. Yeah, looking like a pretty good turn. Again, we're threatening Dishonor, which is definitely annoying for them. Grab that last one. It's feeling actually quite nice. We did obviously like lose all of our equipment, but we're spending that to basically deal half their life total, right? So it doesn't feel that bad. You get them to 3, and presumably they might want to block here. They might even just like try to eat the damage and just try to say F it, keep the whole hand, right? Definitely also possible. All right, maybe opting to scoop it up there because maybe the writing's on the wall. I think their hand is like, it's kind of a crappy hand from there. I guess they could like block Mark with Magma, do that. Even then, they're like sending like a 6 damage turn or whatever. I'm actually kind of curious. So this is a blue line Cindra. Let's see how many blues they're actually kind of running here. So it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, 15. Oh my god, this is a lot of blues. It's like 19 blues. Am I counting that right? That's actually like kind of interesting. I don't think that's, I don't know. I feel like maybe I would expect somewhere in like the 12 to 15 range for Cindra, but I guess I haven't like played the deck all that much, so maybe I don't actually have like the best say on that. But it's super interesting that they're kind of like our decks that are running up to like almost 20 blues, which is kind of crazy. All right, but yeah, that was a pretty cool deck. I actually want to kind of tweak the deck. All right, we're going to tweak the deck one last time. All right, we're going to tweak the deck one last time because I did also miss the Yellow Descendant. I think I actually maybe want to cut like 1 Seek Vengeance, go up on like a Yellow Descendant. I think that kind of makes sense to me. I've never liked Yellow Descendant in more than like a 1 of or 2 of at most, but I think this seems fine. So we're kind of like going down 1 blue, going up a yellow. but it seems fine. All right, let's see if we can get another. All right, playing against a Kayo. So this historically has actually been a pretty decent matchups for us, but they have gotten a lot more disruption lately. So first or second at Kayo. I feel like second still may be correct. I have no idea. Someone's probably gonna get mad at me for choosing second, but I think it's still probably fine. Let's go ahead and bring in. What do we want to bring in? Flex seem good. Let's maybe cut the. Gravel seem like kind of okay. Let's maybe cut the aspects here and bring in like the flex just for Blood Rush turn. Or maybe we can actually do it the other way around. Maybe keep the aspects, cut the rebels. No, I want to try out the rebels. Let's actually try out the rebels and then see kind of how this goes. Again, we're kind of just vibe sideboarding more than anything. I don't really have any strong opinions on Katsu sideboarding or anything. I'm kind of just trying to have a little bit of fun. Let's go switch. All right, opponent is on the beaten track. I feel like this is probably like my most underrated card. Like, I feel like if you're playing KO and you're not playing beaten trackers, I have like questions for you. I feel like this card is like so unassumingly good. Like having guaranteed scabs for a turn is just like kind of crazy to me. Okay, so we have a bonds in the opening hand, which is not great. You know what? I want to be careful to try not to overblock here. Let's go ahead and maybe just leak 2 on this, assuming that they have some follow-up here. Like, we kind of want to, like, dump most of our hand. If they, like, claw into... Okay, so they're not going to claw into anything now. The other question is, like, do we give up on the bonds, or do we want to try to keep the bonds and, like, get rid of the legacy here? Go ahead and double block here, because I imagine they're probably... It's not a follow-up. We ended up leaking 2 there. But I think it made sense if they pitched like another blue and like went into like a 2 for 8 or something. Maybe that was a little bit greedy still. I was kind of gonna think about that. All right. So we have to send in bonds in the opener, which is great. Only issue is like no follow-up, which is fine. So you can't get like the fully live dishonor or anything. But we can like do descendant bonds, get dishonor, arsenal gust wave, and we're pretty happy with that. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they just like threw their scaling in front of this here. Or like through like scaling plus beaten trackers or something like that. I think the nice part about this matchup is they shouldn't be on any D-React, so Arcana is like relatively safe whenever we try to go for that. But yeah, let's see what they end up doing here. Alright, looks like they were just going to eat the Descendant here. Alright, so... Oh god, I still need... there needs to be like some way to make this a little bit easier on my poor Talishar brain. Yeah, let's go ahead and turn off the Okana and the Breeze Riders until we absolutely need them here. I may be outing myself as a just a casual Katsu enjoyer. Alright, so no triggers or anything. Do we want to use Katsu? I don't think Katsu like makes our turn better is the issue, right? Like you discard the Gust Wave, get another bonds, arsenal bonds. Is that like I feel like these are like pretty comparable arsenal targets. So I feel like we don't want a Katsu. I don't know. It feels like weird to do so. Like the only reason we want Katsu is if we want to discard the Whelming and then just like get a random like have a bonds in arsenal so we can do like a double bonds turn. Maybe that's actually like worth it. But I don't know. I feel like Gust Wave is like a safer arsenal from my perspective than bonds is, maybe. Maybe that's my logic. I don't know if that's true though. Again, I'm kind of having like relearn this hero just because I like haven't played it in a very long time. All right, let's go ahead and grab that Dishonor. Yeah, Dishonor is not going to be active, but we're at least getting the 0 for 4 on it, which is good rate and all that. Let's go ahead and turn off our links as well since we're not using it this turn. All right, let this hit. Okay, finish on Dishonor. So what was that? Basically 3 card It took all the damage, so 3 card 12 is fine. It's on rate. Anyway, I guess we get to keep the last card in Arsenal. So it could be worse. Oh, looks like, oh my god, they're giving us the flesh bag on this? What? This they have to like think that this is like on or something, right? That's like the only way this makes sense. They're like playing around like empowerment or something. But we do actually need the Surging Strike to be on the combat chain to actually have like all of the activated. It's only coming in for the +2, right? Yeah, this hand's a little unfortunate, but we can make it work. Could be worse, right? You do have like some 0 cost to discard here. And D-React to make cover like a Strongest Survivor or something. Like, not too bad, right? So Wild Ride. The nice thing here is they use their Scowling, and then they also haven't found their Blood Rush yet. Like, we can probably definitely like rip the tempo pretty hard here with Cross Strap, right? Which means I'll probably have to end up getting my equipment ready for next turn. But let's go ahead and take the 7 here. Yeah, I think I'm going to turn on the Lynx here, and then we don't really know if we need the Breeze Rider, but I guess I'll turn that as well. Probably not going to need the Okana, so we may skip that one. I guess Okana you always leave on, right? So maybe just turn off the Breeze Rider. Okay. So coming in with the Run Rashid. I almost just want to say like no blocks here, but there is like a real world where they like maybe fully block out our next turn. So I guess maybe we should just use the flick just to like get the 4 value. Feels awkward though. Like I feel like there is maybe a world where they can block the Surging, block the Whelming, and block the Rabble. And then we like have 2 D-Reacts in our hand and we're sad. Alright, so let's start with the Rabble. Okay, 0 for 4 is excellent. Hey, Rabble actually kind of being the GOAT here. So definitely want our Katsu trigger. No mask. Yes, Katsu. Discard the flick. And are we getting another Bonds here? Tempting. That'd be the 3rd Bonds. I could also just get a Whelming, but yeah, let's just get a Bonds. And let's go ahead and close the chain here. Crack our Cross Strap. And then they basically know this Whelming Gust Wave, or like they basically know we have a Gust Wave in the arsenal at this point. One card that I also like haven't played a ton with in Katsu is just like the Tempest Palm Gust Wave card. I want to like try it out as a 3-0 today, just because I've been seeing that a lot in like other people's lists. But that card's always still like very weird to me. I need to like visualize the lines maybe a little bit better. It's a very like awkward card, right? Lynx just yet. So the question is like, when are we gonna go for the Lynx? So this probably buys like Sash plus 3 block, or like maybe they overblock it, respect the Okana. That's also possible. Like we are threatening the card draw here, which is nice. All right, so they're gonna get 4 here. So the question now is, do we want to pop Okana to draw a card? Trading 1 charge of Okana to draw a card is like worth, right? It's gotta be worth. Like they don't have any D-Reacts or anything. I think I take that trade basically. Like it's high risk, right? Because you so okay, we draw a Whelming. Interesting. I don't think we want to Lynx just yet. So let's grab our Bonds. And then probably just another Dishonor or last Dishonor. Probably fine, right? Again, we're kind of taking like these weird like middling turns. We haven't found like our super pop-off turn yet. Maybe that's not really how this deck really works anymore, right? Without Art of War. So if we Breeze Rider to Whelming, I don't think there's like anything really crazy we can do here, right? If I think there's any like retrace line where we do like Whelming retrace, Descendant or something, which would I guess turn on Dishonor, and then it comes in for like 2, which is really annoying. I guess that is kind of annoying, but like I doubt that's worth it, right? We should probably use Arsenal Overwhelming, not be like super cute with it, right? So we'll not destroy any of that, and then just hit with this. So we'll go ahead and turn these off. I feel like there was something interesting we could do there, but I don't think it's like super high damage, which I think I want to try to prioritize, right? So we are off edge, which is like a little bit scary, but we do have Red Whelming in Arsenal, which is quite nice. So I feel like our chances of breaking are low-ish, right? It's always hard to tell with Katsu because you can always just draw a hand that's like 3 blues, and that's like a super bad brick. Especially without edge, right? It looks like they're going to give us 2 cards here, which is fantastic. And so we know we're drawing Retrace in the next hand, which could be good or bad depending on the scenario, I guess. All right, Arsenal Whelming. All right, so let's. Okay, this guy's pretty good. We got the Red Hunter Winds, we got Gust Wave, we got Retrace. It's definitely not a brick, right? The only question I guess I have for them is, are they going to have some good disruption this turn, in which case it could be a little bit scary. So they need like Strongest Survive or like Ascend Packing or something. All right, Bear Fangs we can deal with. Oh, and they had a Blood Rush and they blocked out. That's kind of crazy. I feel like they thought that Dishonor was on, right? Which is maybe a hidden Katsu buff is, people think that your cards are better than they are, right? So in this case, we start with the Hunterwinds, pitch the Seek Vengeance, play Retrace after the Gust Wave, and then Retrace Name Surging. Whelming does something. There's definitely lines here, I just don't know what they are. Like, still kind of awkward, though. Like, if they have any number of 3 blocks, they can still, like, block this out decently well. The 3 block is pretty good. So we name Surging now. The funny thing is now we have, like, Dishonor line, basically, if we get another Bonds, but we have unfortunately used all 3 of our Dishonors here. I feel like Dishonor is kind of like an underrated card. I almost like didn't have it in this particular list because I was like trying to trim on blues, but I feel like it's still like baseline just pretty good as like a blue 0 for 4 sometimes. All right, so there looks like they're giving us 3 block, 2 block. Oh wow, they're like respecting the crap out of this Retrace. Fascinating. So now this Whelming should basically win the. I don't know if that was the block there. But for what it's worth, this hero is like very difficult for some people to block. Okay, so now this is gonna probably be our pop turn. So let's go ahead and order the Gust Wave first, see what we draw. Drawing 100 Wounds, which we're probably just gonna get rid of for the last Bonds here. Master Breezies. Lynx is pretty much guaranteed this turn. Okay, and our opponent scoops it up. So 3-turn game, not too bad. This deck can still kill people pretty fast, which is nice. And like, I think we've seen our opponents struggle to kind of block us out, which has always been like one of Katsu's like best strengths is like, if you're not very like practiced into it, or if you like don't have the reps, it's actually like kind of like a pretty interesting deck, right? But yeah, super cool. I'm actually wondering if I want to like make any updates to this, like maybe after this, but let's keep playing with this current iteration of the deck and kind of see how it goes. I feel like it's like at least reasonably well put together, right? But yeah, let's get one last game and see how it goes. All right, we're gonna run it back on the Marionette and see how this goes. So I think I don't know if we still want to go first or second. I feel like let's go first still. Let's bring in the D-Reacts, and then Salt still seems fine. I think we trimmed on the aspects last time, which seemed reasonable, and then maybe the Be Like Waters are also like kind of bad. I almost want to try like this again and see how it goes, but maybe we're like trimming too much of our reds. I can also see that being the case. Let's maybe cut the sink belows and maybe bring in like 2B like water and see like maybe we only need like 3 D-Reacts in this matchup. Let's try like this. Maybe I'm running like too many D-Reacts and that's like the core issue. So I want to see how this actually performs with like a lighter D-React count. Maybe that was our problem like the whole time, right? All right. The opener needs a little bit of work, but it's not terrible. So let's go ahead and maybe just pitch one of our gust waves here to the edge, get a little bit of chip in, and then it also turns on our seek, which is pretty good. I think we're probably not going to go ahead and get greedy with the Seek Vengeance here. All right, interesting. Running Infect, which is not a card. Oh, this is the Hong Kong list, I think. This is like a Hong Kong second place list. I think it runs Red Infect, which is interesting. I don't know how big on that card I am, but it is like the stat line's pretty okay, right? So I think absolutely no way we go for the Okana here. I feel like it's like a little too greedy. Oh, but they are going to give us the Katsu trigger. Do we care, though, I guess is the question. Because I don't think we're playing out the bonds here or doing anything like that. So let's go ahead and just resolve. We're not doing this. Not resolving Arcana. Mask. No. The Katsu I'm thinking on. I don't think it's worth. We kind of just want to like put this in the bin, don't we? I don't think it's worth it to go for Katsu here. Like just having a Gust Wave in the yard for the bonds on the following turn seems just like baseline fine, right? So I'm not sure if we want to go first or second this matchup though. It seems like pretty close. Maybe second's still like correct though, because it is like ultimately kind of an aggro matchup. Like what's that phrase? Like second's never wrong or something like that. Let me go ahead and turn off these breeders right. I think I'm gonna leave the mask on. I don't know what someone who's a Katsu player like tell me in the comments what the best practice on Talachar is for these like little knobs. I feel like leaving the mask on seems fine, but like leaving the other ones on is like. Alright, so we're hoping for more of a high damage turn as opposed to a high disruption turn from them. But it definitely could be either. Art of Desire Body. I think we're just going to YOLO it off the top. We do have a lot of reds in the deck, so their chances of hitting are quite high, but we're basically never blocking this, right? Alright. Maybe with that, it's probably better than a 50-50, right? It's probably like closer to like a guaranteed. Alright, so starting off with 0-7 is not bad. Still just hoping for no disruption here would be the ideal. Infiltrate, I don't think we care about, but could potentially be scary, I guess. I don't think, was that the Hong Kong list running Infiltrate? I don't think it was. So this may be someone's like own little kind of like unique brew. Seems like there may be a lot more in on the kind of like attack action stuff, at least based on what I'm seeing from the card selection here. The nice part about like the attack action marionettes though is that they tend to like eat their own mark really fast, so, like they don't get to flip as often if you're just like no blocking, which we're kind of like in like we're either in a blocking meta or like a complete no block meta, somewhere in between. All right, we gotta take up the mantle. So are they even? Are they gonna just keep the infiltrate as is? Okay, sure. So hopefully, okay, break tide off the top is fine for us. They basically get an extra like 2 damage there, which is I guess like red infect basically, right? It's not bad. But we should hopefully be able to blow them up pretty good next turn. So we maybe want to hold on to this legacy, so I'm going to go ahead and just pop the cross trap here. So what I'm learning from this matchup is I maybe definitely probably want to go second, right? It just seems like we kind of gave them a bunch of free damage for like if they basically did they did 17 damage off of like a 4-card hand. That's kind of crazy. They did 17 damage off 4-card hand and also kept an Arsicle, which is like kind of insane. The nice thing is, I guess we are connecting with the surging here. We might want the breeze. So I think we are just going to pop off this turn. So it's Katsu trigger. I don't know what we want off links yet, though. Basically, no off that, and then we will Katsu, discard. We have another red roaming in Arsenal, right? Or no, we have the bonds in Arsenal, right? So if that's the case, we want. What do we want here? So it has to be something after bonds. What do we have in the yard? We have a gust wave, so we probably do actually want to use the breeze riders this turn at some point. So we discard legacy. Could theoretically do like a double bonds thing here. I guess the question is like, is that even good? It's probably bonds. Do that. It's probably fine, right? You just go double bonds. Get another bonds. And then let's go for the gust wave here. So they are incentivized to want to try to block out the gust wave. So like they might end up giving like black tech plus D-react here or something. Because I will at least try to threaten the card draw here and force a card out of hand. I think I basically do this every time, right? If they want to react to this, I'm okay with that. Alright, so now we want to order the gust wave first. I think we are going to end up having to pop our breeze riders this turn. Alright, we drew empowerment, which is basically like a reroll, right? Interesting. I think we are going to crack the breeze riders, and then links we're going to hold off on for a little bit here. Now we play our bonds. Let's go ahead and get the gust wave the second win so that we can play the second bonds from Arsenal. This could be looking like a pretty good turn. Kind of depends what this empowerment draws us. So we draw another Seek Vengeance, which is basically just like 2 Gogan, which is fine. I guess 2 Gogan on hit threaten the rebuy on the deck, the sword, right? So let's go ahead and what does like links achieve here though? We get we're buying back the other vengeance from graveyard, right? And then what are we doing? Break tide. We don't have another break tide, right? I guess we can just do it for extra damage and just kind of see. So I guess we can just get like a retrace here, which is probably fine. Or Dishonored also, I guess, works, right? Retrace, Dishonor. We have the Gust Wave. I think Dishonor is fine here, right? Like, play this out. I guess we just, like, dump our hand. There's not really much to, like, think about in terms of, like, renaming anything here, I think. It doesn't have the on-hit, unfortunately, but based on our last couple opponents, they might think we do have the on-hit, which is always fun. And the nice thing is we are also getting like 2 separate vengeance triggers here, so we're basically like almost guaranteed to get back the sword. I feel like drawing our salt also like kind of messed us up this hand because like I feel like salt's like our best trigger. Oh, maybe they thought the thing was active. At least based like I don't think it's really like a strong incentive to like overblock that, right? I don't know. I can never tell if they think that or if they think it's like or they just want to like soak up damage. But based on the blocking there, it seemed like they maybe thought it was active. So maybe that's like the biggest reason to actually run Dishonor in your deck is to bait your opponents into thinking it's online. I feel like that's not something that like happens in paper though. I don't know. I feel like at least I'm nice about it in paper. All right. We got 4, so we got this Chain Link 5 that hits. Get another Seek Vengeance. Play another Seek Vengeance. So we get them down to like a 3-card hand, which is not bad. We'll re-equip that Edge. I'd say this is a pretty good turn. Not too shabby. So this is turn 1, by the way. Going second. So we basically dumped our hand to deal 35 damage. It's not bad. So they have Funnel Web. You know what's funny about this hand is they hit a blue off the top. They just like kind of lose on the spot. What are their odds of hitting a blue here? We have 3 blues in the graveyard plus none in banish. I guess the hitting a blue here are pretty damn high, right? Yeah, fuck it. We're gonna take the odds on this one. Show me what you got. We don't care about the arsenal disruption, obviously, so like... Yeah, I'll take this gamble basically every day. Alright, they hit the bonds, which is unfortunate, so they get their choice between Rabble and Descending Gust Wave. Could be worse, though. I feel like they take Rabble, almost certainly, right? Because like the rest of Rain's like pretty awkward otherwise. So we're now out of bonds, which is, I guess, a little bit unfortunate. Or makes these a little bit worse. Question is, I guess, do we want to stay on Arsenal or go off an Arsenal? Interesting question. The problem is we're not really threatening anything, even if we do go for the Okana here. I almost want to just like save this Rabble in Arsenal. For what it's worth, they did have like a pretty decent odds of hitting off the Persuasion there. I don't know if it was maybe worth like just throwing cards in front of, but I guess it really kind of like depends what their arsenal is. If they're gonna get like 2 cards for this, that's really good for us though, right? So I guess in this case, we don't even want to Okana, right? We could get the last red Seek Vengeance, but I don't think that's worth. Let's go ahead and just Arsenal the Rabble and pass back. I think that's probably the smartest, right? Gives Tunic. They're almost on armor. So now, based on our last hand, the issue we had last game against Marionette was we couldn't capitalize once we were like 20 points ahead, right? To me, that's like the biggest issue. It's like figuring out what your game plan post break all your equipment is. All right, so this is basically just guaranteed damage plus draw, so no reason to block. They do have the Flick for insurance if they go like super, super tall on it. Like they could do like double to the point here and then go to like, what is that, like 15 or something? That'd be kind of crazy. Or it'd be like 16. 16 plus on hit, 1 extra damage, which would be kind of nuts. But yeah, I think we're just going to hold back and try to make the most out of this Flick here. For what it's worth, they are on no daggers. And there's T-Tox, which we played around, which is nice. So currently we're at 6 to their 6, and then they're going to be having 2 cards left over. Currently no CNC yet, which is at least nice. And then also no other mark, but we are going to go down another... Oh, they used the Flick, though. So they don't get the extra 6 here. All right, CNC is unfortunate. So we do have to give this respect in some capacity. Fortunately, our hand is like pretty trash at dealing with the CNC. Not that bad. We could theoretically block with the Surging. Depends how greedy we want to go. Because the max grid line is we block Okana, let the Arsenal go, and then we send 4 into 3. The alternative line is we block everything, do 4 into 3, and then we Arsenal Flick, which I think is more appealing to me. I think this is more appealing, like being a little bit safer and also playing around Flick, which they can always like equip Clisser or something. And like the value proposition is similar. I guess with Surging it's like a little bit more guaranteed, but like we get 1 extra damage by sending the edge here if we pitch the blue, go to 2. I don't know. It's like close. Also, I probably should have played the Rabble first. That was me just blanking. I think I kind of just want to like pseudo tempo from this position though. I feel like there's even a world where you like discard the Flick here, right? They do have a leave no, so Codex becomes scary. It's interesting. Yeah, definitely just see what they do here, though. Okay, they're letting this hit. So if we discard the Flick Flack, we take another card from them. We can get like another 100 wins or something. Or the question is, do we want to sit on the Flick and be safe from... Problem is it doesn't even necessarily help against Codex, right? Because they could just like Codex into another CNC. Let's go ahead and maybe just use the Katsu here. And then get another 100 wins is probably the play. And then based on their blocking here, we can either play out the Rabble or keep it. Going off the Flick is risky here, but I think it puts them in a pretty compromising position where it's like, I don't want to, they want to keep cards in hand to like kill me, but they can't because they're dying. I guess there is also the world where we just like don't play the Rabble here and they like overblock or something. What is with all these like 3-turn games, by the way? Is that just like what this deck is? Maybe it's just like a 3-turn game, the deck. I don't know. That's like one of the things I don't like about this deck is like I feel like it just forces every game into like a 3-turn game. Alright, so the Rabble has the potential to take these number of cards out of hand. I think I'm just gonna play the Rabble. Yeah. 0-for-4 is not bad though, that's why it's in the deck. I think every time we've cast Rabble tonight, we've gotten the 0-for-4 out of it, which is always nice. It obviously can whiff, but it's only like, what is it, 25%? 25% to whiff, which is pretty reasonable. It's like Briar, right? And I have to give us one other card here. Giving us a blue Mark the Black Widow, which I think is not all that amazing for them. It might be okay for us. Orb Weaver plus Pitch. So the Knop Flick here, we go to 2, and then we just get to rip this hand, which is okay. We get to do like 1 or 3, 1, 6, which should basically eat hand, and then from there we Arsenal Whelming for next turn. They don't get to have a turn. We're not in Flick range. I think that seems reasonable. Yeah, I feel like taking that extra card out of them was actually like pretty impactful. All right, so let's start with 100 wins. So they have to get us block here. They have to get us block on the edge, which is maybe eating the Flick Knives, and then Enact should eat another 2 cards. So they could keep 1 card here. Is a possibility. This deck's really cool. I kind of almost like misplaying this deck. It's kind of like, it's bad, but it's like a lot of fun, right? Like I feel like in terms of like bad decks, this is probably like A tier in terms of like fun tier. Like I like decks that pitch. I like decks that have like a lot of choices and they're not like super linear, or like they have like some weird variance with the draws, right? I like decks that are just like also kind of more proactive, I guess. Like Marlin, I think is a lot more fun than like Petite Girl, right? If they do have like a 2 block on this hand, it could make the blocking pretty awkward. Oh no, yeah, it looks like they maybe have multiple. Oh yeah, we get their Codex out of them here. Oh yeah, that's backbreaking. Alright, I think this hand, I can't tell if this hand's good or bad. I think it's good, right? I think it's good. Okay, so we pitch the Descendant. Play Seek Vengeance, play Tempest Palm, which has to go again, play Gust Wave, which should basically eat their hand. Not too bad. I didn't think this deck was like all that good because like Marionette just seemed like better version of this deck, but like this deck can still just like blow people up out of nowhere. Alright, they do have the sync here, so they don't. I guess there's like a potential they get to live here. So you start with the Gust Wave. Yeah, having Flick in Arsenal is like a little bit awkward. But the edge bottom should start like adding up here a little bit. And we just need to find any of our like Surging Strikes or some other fun stuff. Alright, so he gets 3 block, and then I will take your last card in hand. So they're kind of in like Kadachi lock, but not really. Like fake Kadachi lock, I guess. And this hand should get the job done. How do we not mess this up? I guess we are just pitching the Harmony here and not getting cute with it. But it's still like we have to like end up IPing with the Surging, which gets weird then. Trying to make it so it's like really hard for them to block, but I think the best, or no, the best thing I think we can do is start with the edge here, right? Because this will always buy a card. The edge Surging, the Senate, and then worst case scenario, we just end up IPing with the other Surging, which is not like a bad IP. Because it means we always have like a starter for next turn. So de-react this. And then Senate for 5 should get there unless they have some way to block 5 on one card, which I don't think they run. Okay, barely got there. Okay, so that went a lot better than the God, the wax on wax off strat. Oh god, I want that card to be good again, but it's like, oh god, that card is like so bad right now specifically. It just like the problem with that card is like you need to have your opponent like doing a lot of like damage on the like you need like a one big attack and then a bunch of like little attacks, but that big attack also has to be like a 0 cost. I don't know. It was a lot better against like new, I feel like, because you had like that ability to, like block the like beckoning misplays and like the daggers and stuff like that. But like current meta just like does not feel like that wax on wax off juice is worth the squeeze. But at least that was a pretty good one to end on. I feel like I redeemed myself from that first game. And then take a look at that turn, 42 value turn on turn 1 casually. So the deck still like kind of functions. I think it's just maybe the meta is a little bit rough now, but I think I'm gonna still keep toying with this deck. This deck is actually kind of like a lot of fun. All right, but yeah, that was my Redline Katsu. So I had a couple iterations of this deck. I think I don't know. We toyed around a lot with this deck, but I think the list we ended up on was like semi-real. So I think we need still need to work on the sideboard again. Like I tried to keep like an open mind on this list and not like try to copy from like a bunch of other people's lists because I think that I have like a specific idea for this deck, which is to kind of like do the Murder Survival thing, which I don't think I've seen in a while. But yeah, I think this deck's still really cool. I'm gonna keep experimenting with. Like, I think there are definitely some options. Like the Aspect Tire Bodies are maybe like a little bit too cute, and like maybe the Murder Rebels also need to like end up going. But I feel like the deck like still functions, right? Like we're still able to like pop off and deal like 40 damage turns or whatever. So decks are really cool. I still like playing this deck a lot, and it feels like the people are not practicing this deck at all, which is very, very interesting. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. And don't forget to check out FaB, our sponsor for the videos and the streams and stuff. We have our own little promo code, Flesh and Bad, which you can use for like 5% off your next single order. So go check them out. They're really great people. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time. And a special thank you to all the folks who decided it would be a good idea to give us $2 on Patreon. We really appreciate the support, but it's obviously never required.